Guys, today I did a bit of a stream and looked at crypto and was spouting bearish again, which a lot of people hate. I'm sorry, I don't like to do things to hate. I'm not trying to be controversial. Things are just a lot more bad than most people realize in terms of the crypto space right now. And we're anticipating the Bitcoin to fall through short, medium term, the 14K mark as part of a down leg. Does that mean it's going to continue further? Not necessarily. At some point it might reverse, but we've continued to have structures for the downside and they've continued to perform, and we stop when they stop. It's as simple as that. There was the rising wedge warning that brought a sale. Now we also said that you'll probably have a sustained period due to 4 key levels where you will hold this range. Actually thought we'd get a second run higher up to 23, but we never actually made that. The FTX events caught up with us, and that's taken you down a little further. The only good news, I suppose, someone who's really looking for bullishness can say the rate of descent, well, I mean, these were real spills. They're quite recent and they're real spills, and that's a real spill. But overall, maybe you could argue, you know, that the whole thing is a bit of a channel. You might be able to. I don't know. It's a bit ugly. I mean, the route up was faster. The route up was faster compared to where we are now. But the sustained staircasing down can grind you down for an extended period. So the technicals haven't been great. This is on a 2-day time frame, which is just to show you part of a lot of things. But if I put the lines on, we've highlighted the blue head and shoulder. We've given this call. This draw hasn't changed. This was drawn a long time ago. Is a 15K run. And you're trading 16K. People, when I first said that, way back then, said, never is it going there. I actually had someone recently when it was over here saying we ain't doing 17, which was quite brave. Again, you know, when we were up here at about 21 or whatever. Again, that was it. You know, that was your last run. Well, unfortunately, you get this all the time. So it's disbelief. But that blue head and shoulder there with that blue neckline that we highlighted has generated for us that key target. That to me is a hugie. It's a big one, and I see it getting done. I see it getting done because it is big. It's done 90% now of it already. So it's quite likely it finishes, especially with a big target out there and a big number. But because it's such a big one, there also can be some chill and some recourse and some relaxation afterwards. It's also the 15K round number. That's the blue line that you see there. The only thing that suggests that it might not be all over, well, there's not the only thing, but there's 1 or 2 other things that are out there, is that we have this big bear flag down there. So this leg looks a lot longer. This is a log scale chart, guys. It doesn't look longer now, does it? 69 down to the lows of 32, projected down from here. This is a 12K. So 15 and 12K. The answer everybody asks is how much lower? To be clear, when you get downside targets, it doesn't mean it's a bottom. We didn't tell you it's a bottom when it made that target of 25. That was the flag target from down here. We didn't tell you it was a bottom when we made this target. We said you're going to pause for an extended period before further downside. This all occurred before your summer holidays. You're in May. So you've largely been in an ugly descending triangle churn. Like that. Of a range. But you have been tightening and clustering along the low side, and you did spill. This is your FTX spill. Now many will say, oh, the sell-offs are getting less because you've got die-hard hodlers left in cold wallets that have been taught over 15 years that they will never, let's go to the 2 hour now, much shorter time frame, that the best thing to do is just to grin and bear it, and the bull market, the 4-year bull market will come again. So these were the things that concern me for crypto people out there that are giving messages of comfort that I don't feel are merited. This is the type of news that comes out near market bottom for BTC and ETH. The Economist, crypto's downfall in ruins. We've had an exchange fail, guys. Of course there's going to be media that do covers. It is not. It's an anecdote. It is not a trading call. Do not call bottoms on a single anecdote. Do you think there wasn't a heading, internet article that was highlighting on 3 Arrows Capital in May when that happened? What if you bought that bottom in May? Back up to the bigger time frames. You would have been involved here, there. Boom, into that, down, hard. You know, you could have been in the 30s. Remember the 30s? How awesome that was now. Now in hindsight, 30s, oh, it was great. It was shit at the time. Now it's almost like, oh, I wish we could be back there. Down, 3 arrows, down, FTX. You think the contagion is over with that? Why is this a continuation pattern again? Let's go back to the smaller time frame with downside targets. We don't throw out numbers like Max Kaiser throws out numbers. Just winning a pissing contest for throwing out the biggest number to the bull side, just so that you can be the mega bull. Why are you churning here? Because you had a first interim. This is HVF method. You'll learn all about it. You had a first interim. You just had a spill. Look at this grind line. Perfect grinding. Tiny low vol there. The risk reward on this is actually huge. You could have got super tight here. You could have had a stop there. You could have had a stop there. You could have even had a stop across the top here, and you could have got short there. That could be your risk, and that is your reward. It's about 20 times. This is what's happening. And are you going to pause and have a wee rest here at the first one? Sure you are. Are you going to bounce and have a bit of churn here with all these levels? 15K. You're going to probably just run the 15K. Plus, you're going to run the second interim of the structure. Yes. Plus, you're going to run the head and shoulder that I just showed you in blue. That started with the head in 69 in those bully giddy moments. What date was that? When was it? It was 2021. Go back. Show the people. When was the head and shoulder high? Your all-time high. Not Richard Hart's high. There. Only for it to run higher. For a couple of days. The 7th of November 21. That high. 68,958. 67. So the 9th of November, between the 7th and the 9th, all well above that high, by the way. Blue, in blue, left red. We called this neckline down. And guess what? So many people said never. So many people said never. And it's coming. It's coming. It's almost fait accompli. This runs it. This runs it. Messiest charts in the world, you're thinking. Bear flag, 12,000. What after that? Everybody asks. What after that? How low does she go? You've got Michael Saylor to consider. This is the big funnel of our first cup gold nugget during the bull phase. There and there. There's real problems in tech land, in crypto tech land, and what you are seeing is during a stimulus package of trillions, absolute trillions, you have seen a round trip run to 69 that is well on the way to running, in my opinion. Yes, you will bounce a bit, but I think that 12 could fall. I think the 15 is, for me, relatively assured. I would say very high probability, and you could skid into deeper lows, depending on the momentum and the news that is going with it. Next, moderate level is our first interim, and then you're in funnel land. That means round trip of the entire event of the first cup gold nugget, our biggest macro bull call. Yes, we've called bull. We said that was one of those rare occasions that most people will probably end up making good money being leveraged long. And others are bottom calling. So many bottom callers. So many bottom callers. There it is. Let's turn the eye off. It's a bit busy there. There it is. All the way up and around. And now down, down, down. So Bitcoin is further down. For those that wanted the charts, I did the long term. I did it for you. By the way, the dollar was weak during this period. And during that weakness of the dollar, the equity market got a run. What happened with crypto? It got FTX's failure. So at the one moment it should have had a chance to get a wee rally. It got smashed. Counterparty risk everywhere. Where is dollar? It's in a much firmer place and looking like it's gaining momentum. Dixie, last end of day, 106.969. Now 107.7. Go have a look at the smaller time frames. Clean the face up a bit. Reversal. This is a rounded bowling price action with a left shoulder. Draw it for the guys. Head and right shoulder with a neckline. And that points to there. So you think Bitcoin isn't going to go further down? I would disagree. Do I know? I don't know anything. I'm just a probability-based guesser using technical analysis that many people think is voodoo science. What about Ethereum? What about other cryptos? We have said Sol is probably your best short. We have said that. And by the way, on Sol, unlike others that think they called highs, we actually called the high on Sol. A couple of our community guys sold the high. I'm not going to claim that. But on Sol, in fact, I'm running out of charts because it was actually the FTX chart that doesn't exist anymore that I deleted in disgust. 260, 259, 260. We had the last final upside HVF. There you can go in there. That was the high for Sol. It generated that target. Boom. 260, high. Bear, bear, and bear. Ongoing bearness. And where are we now? It looks bearish, guys. It looks bearish. No more FTX. Look, it's drifting down slowly. Many people go, well, it's kind of underperforming on a little bit of a downside, little bit of bids. This is listless, newsless driven market where there's a sense of nerves and waiting for the next lightning to strike, the contagion. If it doesn't come, it'll start getting a bid. If it comes, it goes further down. So Sol ain't looking right to me. ADA we have a downside target for, and actually some empathy for poor old ADA. I think Charlie wants to be a good guy, but that's your downside. That points to a 26. We haven't changed. On Twitter I mentioned I closed it on a pullback because I had some good profits on the sell-off and I was supersizing it, so I didn't adhere to process, which is normally what we do. Occasionally, if I think there's a chance it might spill on event and I saw a lot of shorts, I'll oversize, but I have lower stops. So I don't, then I manage the P&L. If you're on the screens, you can do that. It's not advice. It's dangerous. Most people will lose value doing that. And I could argue if I'd just been smaller and just left it, it would have been fine. Providing you're in an exchange, they won't steal from you. You can try short on DEXs, but we do complex, we speculators. We need a stop, a target, and other levels that are key and significant. None of those occurred. So can be done on DEXs easily, all those things. So guys are asking about Hex. I'm sorry, I don't trust any crypto in this environment. For a period, Hex looked like it would be a little bit overperforming ETH, but it can also spill out the bottom. It's already done it once, but it looked like it's more likely to break up against the likes of ETH. Hex dominance, very similar chart. It's trying to hold above the 0.6. But the long run is problems for crypto. The long run is problems for crypto. Doggy, little bump. How much of that bump is being given back? Again, IOTA. lots of levels, lots of little structures and setups that we've been drawing. That did not return. Let's go to the bigger one, daily. So IOTA for us is in a breakdown. Again, 17 cents, we called it. We provided it. It's your squeeze. There she goes. There's the whole thing. That's not what I wanted to draw. That's it. Broke over here. Weak rally. Down on the FTX news and down. And then we're getting 17 cents. Now that didn't look like a lot, but when it was 32 cents and in the 30s and 29, it's quite a fall. Still quite a percentage fall. So there's more to come. There's more to come generally for crypto. In our personal opinion, there's more downside to come. Does it eventually end? Yes, it can. By reaffirming that we are bear, it does eventually end. But a lot of our pessimism is also based on reset. They don't want you to have your own money, guys. I covered that at length in the FaceTime. This is a technical one. ETH is back down. Nasty sell, drifting off. Okay, big plunge. It's awaiting news. This is a market that feels like it's awaiting news for further downside. Chopping around, further downside. Binance, the token we told you, which would overperform, now starting to look a bit too heavy. That's too much for a right shoulder. It's run that low. You would argue that as an inverted head and shoulder is a bit extreme for a right shoulder, and you had this rounding. That was your final low. You started to trade up, you broke. You got absolutely slammed on the news of FTX. Initially it benefited Binance. Everybody get, hey, they got king of the house. Now you're looking more at the rising wedge structure and a break. So also not so groovy, not so great. Does that mean that things absolutely can't perform? Wow, there's been, look at grayscale. This is a headache. Nobody truly needs 2.8, now at 14, hit 31, big sell-off to net asset value. No one truly knows what's going on there. Is there another fraud, bad custody moment? Who knows? But overall, short term, medium term, crypto looks a bit sick. Longer term, I have concerns for its truly decentralized nature. Crypto ain't going away, blockchain ain't going away. It's too useful for the dark state and the CBDC culture and Ethereum for all the apps and the proliferation, but it's not going to be privacy and it's not going to be your friend. So I'm not saying it's dead. I'm saying short and medium, it's further down. And there's probably going to be a large culling of a large amount of the alts. And stable coins, they don't want you to have your own money. They don't want you to be free from their CBDCs. You'll use them instead. So I don't want to recap that. Watch the other video. So technically, again, these are not technically good charts. These are not technically good charts. Elrond, looking weak. Met targets, making, again, look at this. Big spill, and this is drifting through, trying to hold a level. Look at those descending triangles, structures. It is not yet time to call a bottom. Don't be the first in a bottom. Even XRP, which is the banker controlled cultist coins, it's had a few false dawns and got stuck in here, back down in the churn space. So overall, let me recategorize and re-summarize. Dollar is coming back again. Potentially. This is not supportive for crypto. In fact, I highlighted with a chart ARK versus BTC. I've mentioned this many times. I mentioned it again today. Crypto is underperforming tech again. See that? Spiller, thriller, back to the low side. Is it chronically underperforming tech? No. They're both going down, just crypto more so. It is higher beta. But that is ugly. Is it really going to get up in value to that? before this time zone is up? Well, it's going to have to take a massive reversal to do it. In short, will this get there by that time frame relative to the Nasdaq? Well, it depends how badly the Nasdaq falls as much as whether Bitcoin can start getting a proper bid. Things would have to change very quickly. This was our structural HVF that we called on Bitcoin against the tech market titans of the Nasdaq. So this does not look good generally, but it is forming a falling wedge potentially if it held that, but if it continues to spill out of that, it's not in the wedge anymore. It's on the cusp of it. Can I try keep it in with a little bit of wiggle room? To a degree you can maybe, but it is looking very much like it's falling out. So that means it's over falling relative to tech, which is falling. Not good. Not good. So lots of reasons why it's not good. And we warned about this here. Rising wedge, and now of course it's built. FTX news. Okay, it caught us. So don't let it catch you. Now sub 3. We've called sub 1 for this. It's been holding 3.5, 4. And it's doing not so bad. These things do not help any part of crypto. They do not help any part of crypto. Sol against Ethereum, absolute spiller. Sol is our favorite for downside. There was a big macro upside. You've smashed through those levels with momentum. Sol against BNB. We brought this to you as a trade. You've smashed through key support levels to the downside and out of a broadening structure. This is just pain. This is just pain. Sol dominance. You're at a point now where this was a key pause point and level on the way in up. This is log scale, I remind you. This is already chronically down. We said this is a descending, it's an inverted HVF, beautiful low vol, spill. 3 impulse, magnificent, there for everyone to see. The magic in our numbers, down, 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 down. You could get a rally in Sol dominance for a bit. To make a small bit of churn, you could come a bit lower and then have a rally or a flat rally, but it's not going to be big. Look at this. Even this doesn't look big, and that was a massive upside move that played out in Sol. And since then, it's been awful. Rounding, 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 skidding. Skidding, skidding, skidding. This is a doomsday. What does that mean? Left shoulder, head. Mr. Brunt, who so loves head and shoulders, is calling magazine covers now as turning. Go back to technical analysis, Pete. Do technical analysis. If that's what you are, a technician, do the technical stuff. The other stuff are anecdotes. They never key trade details. It's like a nice narrative. It's a nice story. It could be the final little touch. It's the cherry on a cake. It's not the cake in terms of these things. And you get lots and lots of bearishness. Dot community did a great draw for an inverted on this one. It's just we've continued to say down, down, down. This head and shoulder performed. Have a look at the daily. Have a look at the 4 hourly. All skidding into lows. Look at this. Beautiful inverted structure. Community member drew it. There you go, friends. Break. Small return move, broadening, super low vol, spiller, bzzzt, spiller, and now this. It's got a downside target. If it hasn't made it yet, it's likely to. We've done the draw. It's in the community. Go to themarketsniper.com. You should be short or you should be out for counterparty risks. Those are your 2 positions. Entirely out or small amount in the safest exchange you're prepared to gamble on and short, because you need a target, you need a stop, and whatever money you make should be converting into something they can't steal from you with counterparty risk. That's a small, not too serious, but flyby on the technical side. You didn't get to see the charts. I'm giving it to you, and that's all I'm going to say. It's 24 minutes. It's long enough. Remember, we can help you build wealth in reset times. Crypto is still looking short and medium bearish. There's a lot that needs to come out. That doesn't mean it can't bottom at some point. At some point it can't bottom, but you've also got to think, are they going to let these things survive? How much are they going to let survive? Just because it's bottomed before. So finish one small little detail for everybody to truly understand something. And I'm going to draw this with a pen on the screen. You get a small little, draw it, 4-year cycle. And you've only had 15 years of existence, if that. 09, we're not even 14 years. So 14 years, that's what, 3 halvenings times 4.5. It's not a great deal. 4 halvenings. So the key thing is you've got an entire debt cycle from 82 to 2022 dying here. You may not get much bounce for that 4-year halvening cycle here. The fact that you're reducing the amount of supply of Bitcoin by half, you're still adding to it. There's no new money coming into it. They might want it regulated, taxed, all sorts of registration if it's to survive. And you've got the debt bubble busting. And I know lots of people are bullish, but they're often eternal optimists. I know Raul has been bullish recently. Raul, Bitcoin, I think he's talking about it. Actually, there he's saying crash 1 day ago. Could get worse, so fair play to him. And he's admitting a lot of changes. So actually, credit to him. This crash will get worse. So sorry for misrepresenting his opinion. I saw a YouTube. I'm aggressively buying more in the sell-off. That's what I saw. So I'm aggressively buying more. I don't think that's the right strategy. He's also admitting to lose. It's sad when people lose, but the crash will get much worse. That's quite conflicting to buying more. So I'm a little confused. They both seem like they're a day ago. I don't understand. I don't buy more in an environment where I'm expecting the crash to get worse. But anyway, it's not for me to... I'm sure there's some logic in it somewhere. It doesn't make any sense to me at the top line level, but there's probably some nuance in there. The key element is a big cycle is dying, a 40-year cycle. It dominates. It's macro. It's the debt. This token, how does it even still have a value? FTT. And it's built and it's built. This will quietly disappear, become it's an exchange token largely generated by exchange. And some people are still keeping some collateral in. Who's putting bids on that? Somebody will have a reason and say, what if it survives and it could go back? But realistically, who is doing that? And how much more similar to that? Now that's all fundamental, but this is a terrible chart. It's a terrible chart. You can't say it's a bottom. You can't say it's a bottom any more than that was a bottom. That was an inverted HVF. Look how much more you would have made. You still could have shorted at 4 and it traded right down at 1. Still a 75% haircut. You keep getting offered 75% trades, guys. We've put up here tons of 50, 60, 70, 80, and 90, even 95%. When it was $35 and going up to low 40s, we said you're going to get a 95% loss on Sol. That requires it to go to $3 or $4. And it's at 11 today. So you've got the 66. You've got almost the 70 of the 95. Get involved now if you can do so safely, and there's a trade potentially there. But it's not a bull story. I'm not happy. I'm quite concerned. I think the privateer in crypto in an on the surface an unregulated environment, I think that day is almost over. There's going to be so many broken hearts and people based on belief system. And I'm not celebrating people realizing that they thought they escaped and they hadn't. They just stumbled into a new kraal that's even closer to the abattoir. I'm not excited about a lot of people feeling that. I'm not excited about being the bearer of bad news. It's not a great sales pitch if that's what I'm doing. I'm not, but I'm just telling you what I feel. So technically, there's a lot to be concerned about. Dot, more downside. I'm not even touching the Bitcoin dominance. I'm not going into anything else. I'm not doing relative strength. We gave you that on Binance for a period where it did substantially well. I mean, that trade, if you didn't want to take a position in crypto, you wanted to be crypto delta neutral, the trade was BNB FTT. Simple as that. And you could have done it on BNB BTC. Massive overperformance. If you wanted liquidity, Binance has killed Bitcoin. You could have done it on BNB ETH. It's gone up substantially against ETH too. You could have done it on, but BNB FTT. Wow. I mean, do I still have a chart for that? BNB with FTT and the yeah, there's just not too many places where you can even find a chart for that anymore. BNB USD divide FTT USD. Just make it the Bitcoin, the Bitfinex. No, do it again. It's not ETH. We do Binance on Binance. Still going down now, and you divide it by, oh, come on, don't do that. Go there. Divide it by FTT USD. I think they delisted that on Binance. I'll do Tether. It seems to be on BitGet. There's one or two places. Look at that move. How much better Binance has done. You were talking about a 12 to a 205. This was a cross BTC long, cross token long, where you actually could have 12x'd your money. And we all gave that to you off the Binance dominance chart. That was the trade that got away, that you all should have been in, ideally on Binance platform, where you probably still survive. Or on a DEX if you can get it on. I don't know if you'll have targets and stops, but you could have got it on Binance at 11.9, 12, now 205 times FTT. What a trade. And where did it come from? HVF method on dominance on the Binance chart, repeated many times on this channel. And it's not to like recount previous glories. Look at this blow off. Just even in the dominance, significantly higher at 5.5 than the 3.6 it started at. And if you'd chosen the weakest token, which we had a number of ideas for you, you would have done very well. And it was still an excellent trade against Bitcoin. Check that out on 2 days. Check that out on 2 days. It's a 50% run from its midpoint 100s to 160. At one point it was almost 2. Okay, so that's the key thing. You can make money in this market. You've got to be way more aware of counterparty risk. There is still further downside, in my opinion, to come. And it's too soon yet to call a bottom. Those are key messages. Let's see what happens, and we'll update you. We have a 15 and a possible 12K on downside. The 12 was a flag. I don't always call those the best, but the 15 is a very strong head and shoulder, and we're not far away. Okay, till next time, that's your technical update. Bye for now.